Hello and welcome, dear electronic music addicts, to another episode of the Electronic Music Addicts podcast. Today we're doing one of our deep dives. We've got some fascinating, maybe even a bit tense source material you sent over, covering the global electronic music scene. Our mission, as always, is to pull out the really key insights. We're looking at everything from ancient history clashes to huge anniversaries and, well, how artists are evolving right now.
It's definitely a real mix today. The sources we looked at, they really hit three quite different but pivotal points in electronic music right now. First up, there's this pretty serious structural and actually legal controversy. It's threatening massive events right at the Pyramids of Giza, 4,000 years old. Then we completely switch gears to something celebratory, the huge Phase 2 lineup reveal for A State of Trance, ASOT 2026. That's the big 25-year mark. And finally, we zoom right in on a specific performance that might just signal where things are heading. Andrew Rayel's recent 4-hour set in Mexico City. Apparently, quite genre-bending.
Okay, let's unpack this. And yes, starting with a location that is, well, literally ancient history. The pyramids. It feels like almost overnight, Giza has become this, high-profile spot for huge electronic music shows. But all this visibility, it seems it comes with a potential cost, maybe even a threat to the pyramids themselves.
That's right, and it's moved past just concerns. It's now an actual legal battle. There's a formal lawsuit filed by a pretty large group of Egyptologists, and it's directed straight at the Egyptian government.
Wow. And what are they asking for? Just better sound systems?
No, much more drastic. They're demanding a complete stop, an immediate halt to all these big events, festivals, concerts, everything near the pyramids. Their argument is basically that, the economic boost just isn't worth risking irreparable damage to these ancient structures.
And the artists playing there recently, it's a who's who list, right? Makes it a genuinely global stage. We've seen Carl Cox, Kind of Music, Sebastian Lerler, Anima, and of course Aline Fila with their Future Sound of Egypt shows. It's become this huge spectacle. Those videos you see online are incredible lasers hitting the stones, thousands dancing. It looks amazing, but you have to wonder about the impact.
It is an undeniable spectacle, absolutely, but like you said, once the party stops, the science, or maybe the worry, starts. The Egyptologists' core argument isn't just, we don't like loud music, it's based on structural mechanics, on preservation science, and we're talking about structures older than almost anything else, designed for, silence probably, not for modern sound systems blasting out, 120 decibels?
So what are the specific physical threats they're highlighting? Is this, definitely happening, or is it more of a what-if scenario? Are the event organizers saying anything back, about dampening sound?
That's really the heart of the debate. The Egyptologists point to three main things. First, the vibrations, especially from low-frequency bass. Second, the lights. The potential long-term effects of these super powerful modern laser shows hitting the surfaces constantly. And third, just the physical weight and stress. Massive stages, equipment, huge crowds moving around. The big fear is micro fissures, tiny cracks, or even slight shifts in the stones, caused by that constant sonic impact and maybe the light exposure too. These things were built for static stability, not for resonance.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the counter-argument, presumably from the event side or the tourism folks, probably focuses on engineering, right? They can control the sound.
Exactly. They might talk about using highly directional speaker arrays, those line arrays you see, to focus the sound on the crowd and away from the monuments.
Oh.
Or maybe floating stages to cut down on ground vibrations transferring. That's where the economic argument really bumps up against the conservation side.
Right. The tourism people are saying these events are great for the local economy, bring in global attention, foreign currency.
Which they undoubtedly do. But the conservationists are basically saying, look, no amount of short-term cash is worth risking a 4,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's irreplaceable.
And this isn't just about Egypt, is it? This feels like a much bigger question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the courts there side with the Egyptologists, that could set a huge precedent for how places like the Colosseum or Machu Picchu, or anywhere really, handle big modern events and tourism.
Absolutely. It's a global test case for managing cultural heritage in the 21st century. The whole world is watching this lawsuit. It's ongoing.
Okay, let's shift gears now from that potentially quite serious conflict to pure celebration mode, A State of Trance hitting 25 years. And the community just got that big Phase 2 lineup announcement for ASOT 2026. Looks massive.
It really does. It confirms just how enduring, how globally powerful trance still is. The dates are locked in February 27th and 28th, 2026. back at the Ahoy Rotterdam. And yeah, this second wave of names, it really rounds out what looks like a lineup designed to celebrate the past, but also really push into the future.
Some huge names dropped in Phase 2. I saw Cosmic Gate, Andrew Rayel, we'll talk more about him later, Ferry Corsten, Giuseppe Ottaviani, rank 1.
Super 8 and Tab, Sean Tyas, Billy Gillies, Ben Gold, Richard Durand. I mean, the list goes on.
These aren't just random artists. They're like foundational figures for different eras of trance, aren't they?
That seems to be the curatorial approach. Yeah, they're not just throwing names at a wall. They're building a kind of timeline. And the big statement piece, the one everyone's talking about, seems to be that B3B set.
Right. Armin van Buuren, Oliver Heldens, and Addicts. Back to back to back.
That's the one. It's definitely generating a lot of buzz. Highly anticipated.
Okay, let's break that down a bit, because for listeners maybe more focused on like classic trance, Heldens is more future house, maybe some melodic techno now. And Addicts, he brings that really high energy, big room, even hard techno sound. Isn't that a bit risky? Could it alienate the core trance fans who come for those specific melodies?
It's definitely strategic, and yes, there's always a risk when you mix genres so prominently. But it probably reflects where, main stage electronic music is heading generally, that B3B seems explicitly designed to blend things. You've got Armin representing the emotional trance core, Addicts bringing that driving modern club techno energy, and Heldens with his progressive, maybe more experimental edge. It feels like an attempt to show how trance has evolved and how it can integrate with, the wider electronic soundscape today. It's probably going to be one of the most talked about moments of the weekend, for better or worse.
That's a great way to put it. And it looks like they structured the weekend smartly to cater to different tastes, right?
Yeah.
Friday seems like the dedicated nostalgia night.
Exactly. The sources say Friday is all about classic trance, the roots of the genre. It's basically a sonic history lesson. Armin himself is headlining with a long 5-hour set. And joining him are names representing different classic sounds. You've got the uplifting core with Ali and Fila.
Ferry Corsten for those pure anthems.
Right. John O'Callaghan for that driving energy. Mauro Picotto bringing a harder edge. Will Atkinson too. If you love trance in the early 2000s, Friday is your night.
And then Saturday switches it up. More fusion, blending trance with other current sounds.
Yeah, Saturday seems geared towards the present and the near future. It's more diverse. You've got Andrew Rayel doing his Extasia show, which ties in nicely with our next topic. Plus, Cosmic 8, Super 8 and Tab, Nifra, Arjun Milson, Marlowe, Matt Fax, Push. It's about showing how those trance melodies can work with modern bass lines, maybe faster tempos.
It's also good to see they're highlighting a strong group of female artists. Hannah Lang, Nifra, Korolova, Olivia Lenson mentioned. Seems like a conscious effort.
Definitely. And that diversity push extends to the up-and-comers too. They've listed emerging names like Dart, B2B, In Effect, Amara, Jezebel, Benoit, Avalon Roxton, people representing the next wave. So yeah, ASOT 2026, it's shaping up to be really ambitious, a symbol of 25 years of trance evolution. Rotterdam's going to be the center of the trance world again.
That perfectly sets up our final deep dive segment. Let's zoom in on one of those names, Andrew Rayel. Specifically, his recent 4-hour set at LooLoo Studio in Mexico City, CDMX, right? On October 17th.
Yeah, and from the reports, this wasn't just Rayel playing his usual hits. It sounds like it was more of an artistic statement. He played for 4 hours and apparently really showed off his versatility. The surprise was how much he leaned into techno and darker progressive house sounds, much more than his usual, euphoric trance signature. He seemed comfortable going deeper, more hypnotic, finding a balance between that modern exploration and the nostalgic trance stuff that, built his career.
That shift is fascinating. From the big uplifting anthems to a deeper techno hybrid. And 4 hours gives you a lot of room to explore that.
But how did he keep the core trance fans engaged during that long journey? What were those moments that really connected? It sounds like he used strategic nostalgia drops. He wove the classics into this new, maybe darker soundscape. The reports mention a huge peak when he dropped his remix of Dash Berlin's Till the Sky Falls Down. Apparently, the reaction was massive, pure euphoria, singing along, hands up. He used those moments, it seems, to reconnect with that core emotional investment people have in those classic tracks.
And there was a sequence of other classics, too. Kind of a tribute, but maybe mixed in a new way.
Exactly. Tracks like Dark Warrior, his big collab with Armin, Euphoria, 550 Centa, that huge W&W remix of Dash Berlin's Waiting, and significantly, a new take on Tiesto's Adagio for strings, described as maybe more energized, almost tech trancey. He wasn't just playing the old tracks, he was recontextualizing them.
And technically, how did he pull that off over 4 hours? Blending those styles isn't easy.
Well, the analysis points to his mixing skill. He wasn't just playing track A, then track B. He was using complex filtering EQs to maybe isolate a high melody over a rolling techno bass line, playing with tempo strategically, using dynamic pauses and build-ups to really control the energy across the whole 4 hours. It takes real skill to go from, say, 125 BPM melodic stuff up to 138 BPM trance anthems and back, smoothly keeping it cohesive.
So what's the takeaway? What does this Mexico City set tell us about where Andrew Rayel is heading artistically?
It really seems to confirm he's in a new phase, a more mature stage maybe.
Yeah.
He's clearly not afraid to experiment, to add these deeper, darker techno dimensions to his sound. But crucially, without totally abandoning his roots, it suggests trance itself can evolve, borrow from adjacent genres like techno, and stay vital. The set sounds like it bridged that gap, connecting older fans with newer sounds, classic structures with modern depth. A really interesting performance.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the 3 main areas we dove into today.
Right. First, that critical situation at Giza. The clash between heritage conservation and mass entertainment, with huge potential global implications depending on the legal outcome.
Second, the sheer scale and thematic depth of ASOT 2026. Celebrating 25 years by looking back and forwards, fusing sounds, it shows trance is still a major force.
And third, zooming in on Andrew Rayel's evolution. His Mexico set shows how leading artists are adapting, experimenting, proving the genre can mature and integrate new influences.
So here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on. If top artists like Rayel are now successfully blending those beloved classic trance anthems with harder, modern techno sounds and making it work in a club, what does that mean for the next 25 years of trance? Is the genre going to fully absorb techno, or will it carve out some entirely new sonic identity? Something to think about. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the EMA podcast. Don't forget to follow us for more information and analysis about the world of electronic music. See you soon. And remember, turn the world into a dance floor.